As we all know, it is not easy to be success in the business world due to its high competitiveness and dynamic nature. But when it comes to Schneider Electrics, they have positioned itself as the global specialist in energy management and automation by the 21st century due to their level of quality. So we have done a mini research based on Schneider Electrics. First, I will give a brief introduction to Schneider Electrics. Schneider Electrics were established in 1836 under steel and machine industry. Now they have entered into the electricity market with 200 plants and 90 distribution centers globally. Due to the growth of global demand for energy has become an opportunity to the company, and then they expand their market to Germany and Eastern Europe from France. The headquarters of the company is located in Singapore, which is a country in the top 3 of the business ranking. Currently, they conduct their business in Europe, North America, Latin America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. By recording 25.2 billion revenue figure and having more than 135,000 employees, lead to hold a successful position compared to its competitors in the industry. Now, let's move on to the evaluation part of identified major issues and important things in this case.
According to the scenario, there is a language issue. When they execute their strategy in different countries, they have to face a challenge to find global talent able to speak those local language as well as local dynamics. Since different countries have their own culture, they have to different religion, their own style of business practice. So adopting to the cross-cultural value are really challenging task. Then Asita will critically evaluate this issue.
Yes, Angela. So let's move on to the critical evaluation part in our presentation. We have identified few areas. First one is culture difficulties. We know that culture is important part, especially if organization wants to expand their business in overseas, they should focus culture. As culture is different in one particular country to another country. On the other hand, culture is different in one region to another region. Therefore, business should decide how and when undertake culture changes. Hence, culture awareness is most important. Culture awareness can be defined as a sensitivity to the similarities and construct that exist between the two cultures. Sometimes, language also can be made barriers to the overseas company. Finally, we would like to say that overseas company never should try to do activities which against the religion in particular country. So let's move on to the recommendation which could be given under this factor.
Yes, Asita, as the recommendation for that language issue, it is important to use most preferable language, otherwise it is usable language. As well as it is better to give proper training or ask workers to get additional knowledge regarding foreign language. Now I am going to talk about next significant matter which we identified from the scenario. When they're going to expand their market globally, it will be more beneficial that it is help to expand their market. Now, Asita will critically evaluate this matter.
Yes, Angela. So we have identified two factors which would be influenced to the decision to internationalize. So push factors and pull factors. If firms have massive capacity and high capability, then they are pushing toward to the global market. We can identify that as a push factors. So if there is a market opportunity in internationally, also international operational opportunities likewise. So it will be pulling the company toward the global business context. So we can identify that as a pull factors. So let's move on to the recommendation which could be given under these factors.
Yes, Asita, as my opinion, that is better to expand their business operation to move with the global context. According to the scenario, they focus only full factors. So if they can improve their capacity as well as the capability, they can successfully win their global market. Let's move our next part. Tumi will explain next significant matter which we identified from the scenario.
So let's we move on to the significant matters. The first one is high competitiveness among the market. So according to that, the organization need to have a proper marketing plan to face that competition. Otherwise, they can't survive in the market. So Heshan, can you give some further explanation?
Yeah, Pune. When it comes to the marketing strategies of the this company, product segmentation, targeting, and positioning are uh, very crucial for strategies which can create a good marketplace for an organization. As a segmentation, it can be done by geographically, demographically, usage-wise, gender-wise, lifestyle-wise, and income-wise, etc. There are various ways to do their segmentation. According to case study, we can see there are 5 stages or 5 pillars which they had used to done their marketing strategies. As a first step, focusing to expand their energy management and industrial automation business. Second step is targeting a new market sector. Third step is focusing on digitalization. Fourth step is focusing to people and partners who can help them to grow up under the extending the services. And finally, resolves around the new energy landscape. You mean?
Yeah, as a recommendation for that, we can suggest that it is good to focus in producing some another product which is related to several segments. That means currently they are producing only the electric equipment. So it is good to focus in produce another related segment products. Then it will give more opportunities to that company. So the next one is currently they using wind power and solar power to generate electricity. So through those two sources, they are unable to produce massive electricity at once. So we suggest them it is good to use somewhat liquid natural gas to produce electricity, because it may help them to produce more electricity rather than producing wind power and solar power. And also it is somewhat low cost, need to be bearing. So let's we move on to the next our significant matter. It is Asian. So that means the Asian, because of Asian, there is an enormous effect with related to that agreement. That means the Singapore is a country which located in the center of the Asian, uh, the center of Asian, the way of doing the what we call doing the transactions among the member nations. So according to this case, they highlighted that Singapore is a country which located the center of Asian, and it acting as a trading bloc among the member nations. So this is not an issue, but we feel that this is very important to highlight in this presentation, because according to the case, it is also highlighted. So Heshan, can you give some clarification for that?
Yeah, Pim. When it comes to the Asian is a regional grouping which consists of few countries, including Brunei, Singapore, Vietnam, and so on. To promote economic, political, and security cooperation among their member countries because of this agreement. Member countries may be able to obtain a good support for their local traders, manufacturing, and facilitating economic integrations, as well as enables to build partnerships with several comprehensive economies. Because of this agreement, they are able to get more benefits, including infrastructure development, GDP growth, new market creation, and so on. As well as these positive circumstances, there is some negative aspects also. As example, political influences. Yumi, I think I given enough explanation.
Yes, Heshan. So when we move on to the recommendation for that also, we can suggest it's good to stay with binding this agreement called Asian, because that will help them to, the organization to get more integrated pool of opportunities from that agreement. So those are the things which we want to highlight according to the case study. So thank you very much.
Let's move to the challenge faced in human resource management. When they execute their strategy in different countries, it becomes challenging to find global talents being able to speak those local languages and also understand the local dynamics. All these different countries have their own culture, their own religion, and their style of business practices. So they need local people, but to find the right level of people is really the challenge. Nishan, shall we see the theoretical background of this matter?
Yes, Kavisha. In here, it is evident that they want to hire local talents who are able to speak in their respective local languages. Considering the theoretical background of this scenario, they are trying to apply polycentric policy because they have emphasized about requirement of local people. Basically, this means the company adopts the strategy of limiting recruitment to the nationals of the host country. There are several advantages Schneider can gain by adopting this staffing approach. It's just it is attracting talents because it gives people the perfect opportunity to grow and explore new ideas, which can help in developing their own skills and careers. Also, local employees have a broad understanding of local customers, markets, and institutions. But there are some drawbacks of this staffing policy, such as a gap can be occurred between local managers and parent country managers. And also, language barriers, national loyalties, and cultural differences may isolate the corporate headquarters staff. So, Kavisha, what can we recommend here?
When we talk about the recommendations, it's more important to use majority's preferable language or the most portion of the organization usable language, as well as there are 3 approaches that can be used for this, but they focus only one approach, and it is important to understand pros and cons of focusing the other 2 approaches, such as ethnocentric and geocentric as well. Next, we move to the operational management challenges in Indonesia and Vietnam. In here, they had to deal with different challenges in Indonesia. They have identified that it would take 1 month to ship something from one end to the other end in Indonesia. Hence, they have stated the importance of implementing separate strategies for Java, Medan, because it is a huge country. In addition to that, they have recognized the vulnerable point in industrial manufacturing because the factories are moving into Vietnam, and according to them, they are not well positioned to locate it there. As well as they have an opinion on decentralization due to being highly centralized to Jakarta could hinder their development in terms of maximizing the opportunities. Nishan?
Yes, Kavisha. When we look at this in theoretical perspective, before locating the production facilities, Schneider should have recognized main 3 factors, and those are country factors, as in the political systems, legal systems, and economic systems. Then the second one is the technological factors, like the level of fixed cost and the minimum efficient scale of the technology. And the last factor is the product factors, such as the product's value of weight ratio and whether the product serves universal needs or not. Moreover, there are 2 basic strategies to consider when locating manufacturing facilities, and those are whether concentrating them in optimal location and serving the world market from there, or decentralizing them in various regional or national locations that are close to major markets. So, Kavisha, what are we recommending here?
In here, we recommend to, if they decentralize their manufacturing, it will split their production processes into various locations or regions in Indonesia. This strategy also changes the organizational structures of companies. So it is recommended for them to go with decentralization, as it will help in achieving increased motivation and creativity and flexibility. Jithmi, it's over to you.
Now, I will summarize what we have done in our presentation. First, we started by giving a brief introduction to Schneider Electric's and its regional headquarters remoting program. Then we moved on to the key issues and important things which are identified from this case study. Critical evaluation of good side and against side has done by using relevant theories and concepts. Finally, we have given some suggestions and recommendations for those key issues. From that, we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.